that says men are responsible for women. So they use that verse to explain why they have guardianship laws. So as a woman, as a Muslim woman in Saudi Arabia, you can't travel on your own. You can't leave the house. You can't even go shopping on your own. As you famously know, you can't drive a car. You can't travel. You can't go to school. You can't do anything unless your guard is with you. So basically, they are enslaved. That's what's happening over there. But then over here, we have Wear Hijab Day. Wear Hijab Day, explained by Dr. Yasser Qadhi here, who is a prominent American Muslim. He says, Allah created us to love modesty, and modesty is part of faith. Projects such as World Hijab Day help us spread these values and showcase our religion in a positive manner. So he's being very upfront about why they started World Hijab Day. World Hijab Day was incredibly popular, especially in Canada, where we're so far left. Bernie Sanders looks like a Republican. Almost every university had like a World Hijab Day booth, and they're passing out hijabs and teaching people how to wear it. That day I had such a migraine, I just had to nap the whole day. I couldn't even take it. The thought of a World Hijab Day is just as ridiculous as a Wear Wings Day. I don't know if any of you are familiar with The Handmaid's Tale. In The Handmaid's Tale, the women have to wear this like bonnet thing that is almost like a horse blinders, blocks their vision in the way the niqab does as well. To think of the hijab as an empowering thing it's absolutely ludicrous. And people can understand it when I bring this up, because they look at The Handmaid's Tale and they say, oh my God, that's terrible. We could end up living like that. And my response is, millions of people do live like that. In fact, I was watching The Handmaid's Tale and I kept on commenting on how these women actually have it better than Muslim women. Look at her, she's talking to that man, a strange man. She's not married to him, she's not related to him. That would never happen. Look at these women walking along by the river with no men with them. That again would never happen. Millions of examples. There's this weird unholy left-right alliance that's going on that breaks my heart. When I was a Muslim, I was taught to hate. I was taught to hate the other all the time. Hate gay people, hate Jewish people, hate non-Muslims. All of the things that you think of as far-right, conservative, kind of like closed-minded things, no sex before marriage, yada, yada, yada. That was the world I lived in. And I can legitimately say to you, as can any other ex-Muslim in this room, I risked my life to leave that darkness and come into the light and to meet other open-minded, enlightened, liberal thinkers, and to have those people celebrating the darkness that I just escaped from is just, I don't even know how to describe to you what that feels like. When I saw the Nike swoosh on the hijab, it looked just as ridiculous to me as the Mormon underwear with the Nike swoosh would look to you. Or the Amish aprons with a Nike swoosh. The hijab is a symbol of far-right Islam, conservative Islam. Most American Muslim women don't even wear the hijab because now they have a choice. Some of them don't because of their families or their communities or whatever. But still, the numbers here are way lower than they are in the Muslim world. So I just want Islam to be treated in the exact same way that the other religions are treated. I want when people to see the Nike swoosh hijab to be like, what the? In the same way that they would for either of these other two visuals down there. I want all religions to be treated with the same contempt. I'm so happy to hear that. I was going to go on, belabor the point, but it looks like you guys are already on my side. I was just really quickly, like, we recognize that Donald Trump and all of his issues are obviously problematic, but then here's a gentleman, Mohammed, who's got issues that are even worse than Donald Trump could ever hope to do just because he's in the United States of America. And we respect him, and we make sure not to insult him. And if you say anything negative about him, then you're an Islamophobic, bigot, racist, alt-right, Nazi, blah, blah, blah. That's really dangerous, especially in Canada. Now, I know here in America, you guys are a lot more aware. But in in Canada, what ended up happening is that it took us like 30 years, we haven't even fully succeeded, but we've been pushing Christianity out of our public secular schools. And very recently, we've opened the doors wide for Islamic prayers in schools. Another thing that has happened is we had this motion 103, that was passed, which was deemed the Islamophobia motion. And in Canada, a motion is the first step to becoming a law. So it's a motion, and then a bill, and then a law. The motion was passed unanimously in the province of Ontario, and it was passed in the Supreme Court as well, like at the federal level. That motion says that it is illegal or there will be consequences to Islamophobia. That's basically a blasphemy law. The Conservatives, which were probably like Bernie Sanders, they've said, okay, let's have another motion. Exact same wording, just take out the word Islamophobia, because there were a lot of people that were upset about the word Islamophobia. And they said, this has nothing to do with criticizing people or being a bigot or racist against human beings. We're talking about a religion, Islamophobia. Call it anti-Muslim bigotry, we're totally on board. But calling it Islamophobia is dangerous. But they refused. They wanted the term Islamophobia in there because they needed to make sure that they were virtue signaling. This is a girl, a Canadian girl whose family is from Pakistan, who's one of the people that was speaking up against the motion. It looks like she's wearing niqab here, but she's not. She's only covering her face for fear of her life. And I'm just going to play this video for you.
Silence is deadly. What does that mean?
It means that we have the right to speak.
So Toronto is our biggest city in Canada, and at Toronto City Hall they had a rally against M103. The people that were against M103, of course, were a teeny little bunch, and then there was an anti-rally, an anti-racist rally that was way, way bigger.
Silence is deadly. What does that mean?
It means that we have the right to speak out against any ideology that we want to and criticize it for the crimes that it commits, people commit in its name. In Islam, a lot of Christians in different countries and other Muslims are persecuted because they're different. And we should be, and it's done in the name of religion. And if we don't speak out against them, then they're killed.
Are you from the Islamic world yourself,
Yes,
ma'am?
I am.
Okay, which country would that be?
I'm from Pakistan.
Oh, okay, then so you've seen, I guess, the dark side of Sharia in your home nation, then?
Absolutely. My family members have seen people accused of blasphemy law tied to the back of cars and dragged through the streets and killed that way. There's a woman, Asya Bibi, she's been in jail for 7 years because someone falsely accused her of blasphemy. And there's a Christian girl who's a a refugee. She was accused of blasphemy, and she escaped with her life here in Canada. And can you imagine how she feels when something similar to the blasphemy law that she escaped from is like being implemented here in Canada?
And what's incredible is that, I mean, you've lived through this, you've seen it with your own eyes, and yet you have these predominantly white Canadians that are having a counter-protest about what you're doing, and they're calling people like you and others here racist, bigots, Islamophobes. What's going on?
Well, the problem is they're not very intelligent. They're not well educated, and they're not informed about the atrocities that happen in different parts of the world. We come to Canada for a better life. We want to leave that world behind, and we want to celebrate the beauty and the values of this country. And we don't want that horrible, horrible draconian laws to follow us here. Sorry.
So what can they possibly say to you when you point out, listen, I'm originally from Pakistan. I've seen the dark side of Sharia. Why are you campaigning against people that are standing up for freedom of speech?
Well, when they call me fascist and they call me a white supremacist, I tell them...
Call you a white supremacist?
Yeah, a white supremacist. Last time I was here, they're calling me a Nazi scum and a white supremacist. And I'm like, I'm not. How can I be racist against my own people? And they say, it doesn't matter, you still are. And I want to say to them that I'm standing up for my women, my sisters that have died, my sisters that are in jail, the Safiya girls. They were Afghani Muslims, and they were killed because their parents thought they were too westernized. Canada is a beautiful country. I was born in Canada. I went back to Pakistan many times. My parents are from there. My family still lives there. And my family, it's just a horrible thing. They don't understand. They'll never understand until they live there. They wouldn't even last one day under Sharia law.
Like what you just saw, then click subscribe below and never miss another Rebel video.
Of course, that's the evil alt-right rebel media. But this girl mentioned the Safiya sisters and how they were killed for being too Western. I just wanted to mention to you guys that there are a couple of movies out there. One is called Honor Diaries. Ayaan Hirsi Ali is in it, and Raheel Raza, and many other faces and names that you might recognize. And there's also a movie called Banaz, A Love Story, which is by Dia Khan. And that's about a girl who was in the UK who went to the police 5 times saying, my family is going to kill me. And nobody believed her, because it's just so far outside of the realm of possibility. But in fact, thousands of girls are killed every single year in honor killings. And at the end of the movie, she just flashes faces and names, faces and names, faces and names, faces and names. And that's in the UK. Across the world, we can't even know, because these girls just disappear. Quite common was, oh, what happened to so-and-so? Oh, she's gone back to Pakistan to get married, or gone back to Egypt to get married. Never heard from them again. My mom used to tell me, I can kill you, bury you in the backyard, and tell everybody that I sent you to Egypt. Nobody would know. The idea of honor killings and the idea of being afraid for your life is something that is pretty common when you're living in a conservative Muslim environment. The fear that we have for speaking out is something that is really difficult to explain to people that live in a country with the First Amendment. So it's hard to understand. Ayaan Hirsi Ali described it pretty well. She said that there are some countries where freedom is it was earned so long ago that people now have forgotten its value. So it's kind of like Paris Hilton. She doesn't know what it's like to live hand to mouth or to work for her money. Money just comes easy to her. I think freedom comes really easily to a lot of people too these days, and it's hard to even fathom what it's like for people who don't even have the freedom to speak their mind. So what I want to ask you all today, my call to action, is to please speak out for those people that can't speak their mind. Resist. Don't let this country turn into Canada. Don't let Islamic prayers into your schools. Make sure that you resist and don't allow Islamophobia laws into your government. Stand up and speak up. I know that people might call you a bigot, an Islamophobe, a Nazi. I've heard it all before. And as my friend Rivka says, it only stings the first time. Keep going. Your forefathers fought for your right to speak up. I'm Canadian, but I feel like this is the greatest country in the world. And I wish that you guys all knew that. I want you to really value your Enlightenment values and to really recognize how incredibly lucky you are. And please don't turn your back when you see or hear of things happening just because the person is Muslim. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what their color is, doesn't matter what their ethnicity is, doesn't matter what their religion is. Speak out against atrocities, please. And all of us together, if we all support each other, there's strength in numbers, I'll be safer, other ex-Muslims will be safer, and we would really, really appreciate it. Make a better world for you and a better world for us. Thank you.
You want to take a few questions? Okay.
Sorry, Q&A. I got all verklempt. So should I speak into this and you pass this around?
Yeah.
Okay.
Questions?
That's not all.
Are you on?
Test, yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Ron.
Okay. What are some...
Should we take a minute and let her take a break?
Yeah, you know what? Your first question, we're going to take about a couple-minute break because everyone's sitting for a while, but we're going to do a Q&A. So yours is first. Let's take a break first, about 5 or 10 minutes or so.